There's some big wombats out in here.
This
Big ones.
Wombyville.
this
Big
road is
Wombyville.
freaking
I hope my brakes work in this thing.
rugged.
Yeah, I'll be bailing
Skirting
if
down
not.
here.
Drop her in first. And let her just-
Yeah. Blow that tranny right out of her.
Yeah, it's a big ridge.
Oh, it's big.
That
a good
one's
town
got
right
that,
there.
that one's got a big one on it.
Oh, yeah.
Man, that's a huge ridge.
That one's got a big one on it.
Look how long that thing does, too.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Northwoods Whitetails podcast. I'm your host, Joey Davis, with hosts.
Isaac Young.
Connor Shalong.
We are in the truck. We got the Jackery hooked up. We're in the truck, and we're going to check out some ground. We're going to give you a little how-to, how we go about finding new ground and what we're looking for. We got the Ford, Connor's Ford. It's all jacked up.
Doing a little speed scouting. The Northwoods Mobile.
We're going to cover some ground. Before we do, we should talk about the release of the Johnson coats. A lot of you guys saw that on our media pages, that we are partnered with Johnson Woolen Mills. It's been a couple-month process anyways of creating these coats. We have designed these coats based around, I would say, what we've all wanted, right? Like Connor wanted certain things of it. Isaac wanted certain things of it. You know, all of the guys on the team wanted something to do with this coat and had ideas in some way or another. And the folks at Johnson, who are very talented, listened to us, and we put this coat together. The white and black one is going to be about 14, 15 ounces. It has got kangaroo pockets in the back. It's got chest pockets inside, outside. It's a custom fit jacket. It's very athletic. This baby is wool.
Can I say something real quick?
Shoot.
It's very soft.
Very soft.
Very soft.
Yeah.
Like, that's the first thing that jumped out at me was when I put it on with a T-shirt, it was soft and nice.
Not
Yeah.
like your prickly
Not like
wool.
prickly, scratchy, it was very soft.
No
Yep.
liner either, which is nice.
Yeah. But
No-
anyways.
Yeah, no liner. Like this is a T-shirt, a flannel, and this jacket. It's a tracking jacket, right? We all know what those are, and that's what we built it for. So we're gonna have a green and black check also that will be available. We're gonna hopefully get these things out and pre-ordered here in the next couple weeks. The price point isn't quite decided yet, but I got a pretty good idea where they'll land. So anybody that's had an experience with Johnson in the past, it is under new ownership. So if you've had any kind of bad experience, I can tell you that the new owners are looking to do right by you. This is 100% made in America. The new owners are all about buy local, to the point where we were talking about getting some Johnson hats made up, and because they were made in China, is a no-go. So he is
a good sign.
100% about buying local, and he's there to work for you. So anybody that's got any issues or past issues, he's looking to do right. That being said, we have redesigned a pair of pants that I've been testing, and one of the makers of the pants has been testing, Shed Hunting. We've got just over 200 miles on these pants. They're phenomenal. Crotch hasn't even started to begin to pit. They are a super light pant. They're probably 12, 14 ounce pant, 100% wool. You can layer underneath them. You know, my father-in-law was wearing them this weekend. It was 50, 60 degrees out. You can layer underneath them. I was wearing them when it was 20, 30 degrees. So keep a lookout for that stuff. It's coming down the pipe along with multiple other items. That's just from Johnson. We got a couple other things that we're working on that it'll come out in the near future with some other companies. But
Will this stuff be ready for fall?
one of these things won't be ready for fall. But all this wool, you'll have it in your hands before the weather starts turning.
Perfect.
Yeah.
The coats.
Yep, the Colts.
That's
Yep. And we're going to have Colts made up, so anybody that's going to hunt stock, you guys can try these coats on right there. which is a plus, right? Like most people want to do. They want to handle it. They want to put it on. They want to feel it before they buy it, and you'll be able to do so. You'll also be able to go into the Johnson store, which is in Johnson, Vermont. If you've never been, go check it out. They've redone the whole front of the store. It's pretty fancy in there. So yeah, that's where it'll be. They should be out in a couple weeks here, and keep a lookout.
Very cool. I'm very excited.
Yeah, me too.
I want to try out this invisible coat thing that you tell me about.
Yeah.
They still don't understand it because you can wear bright orange and the deer don't see it, but apparently white they can't see.
You throw some snow camo on, you're going to get right up close to them.
That's what they say. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, they look right straight through you.
Right,
what I
know.
found last
I'm just
year.
being a pain anyway. I've heard a lot of guys say that white helps.
Yeah. No, it definitely does. What do you got going on here? We're driving by.
There's
There's a
campers all
campsite.
over the place up here.
Really?
That guy was up here last weekend.
Do you see how scabby all this beach looks?
It's not good.
Look at it. It looks all like gnarly. I wonder what that is.
I heard the frost.
Really?
That's what I heard.
Yeah, a
Could
lot
be
of the
wrong.
leaves, a lot of the oak is all burnt, like Joey and I were talking about on our way to the last podcast. You're driving down the road and all the oak leaves are all burnt off. It's weird.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's not the moss.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a moss this time of year. I think it's a frost.
Yeah, I agree.
But
So, we're looking for new country. So anybody that knows and can picture this, we're in Vermont. We're in some mountains, and it's an area that I've never hunted. These guys have dabbled in it a little bit here and there, but it's a long ways from home for any of us.
There's some big bucks around.
Yeah.
yep.
Hard to get.
So are these roads open?
These are open, yeah. These are National Forest roads we're on right now.
Yeah, and are these open most of the year? When do they close these things?
They close these down, I think it's December 15th. I think it's the last day of
Yep.
deer season. They shut these down
Yep.
and gate them up for snowmobile season. That's how we found this area, is actually snowmobiling.
No kidding.
Saw a big buck track crossing the trail, pinned it, and came back in here in the summer.
Was he yarded here, or was he just traveling down out?
I don't really know. I cut his track all over the place in here, right down this strip,
He's
actually.
probably hanging up
This
in
is
here.
in January when I found it. He'd come down off this side, cross the road, and then I found his track again. Jeez,
Uh-oh.
a little rough.
Little
I
bumpy.
found his track again on the back side of this ridge on the other trail.
Really? So, we all look at maps, right? Like a lot of us e-scout. I would say that I do it for at least probably 20 minutes a night. I'm laying in bed.
Yep.
20 minutes turned into an hour.
Yeah, and
yeah.
I'm looking for like the next best thing, right? Like I'm looking for something that I've missed somewhere along the way, or new ground, or cuts, or whatever. And we're driving through one right here that's probably cut
Yep.
6-8 years
Those
ago.
bucks I was just showing you on camera is like 100 yards over here.
No kidding. Yeah. So like this stuff right here, right? Like this is a prime example. This may or may not be on the map, but it's good enough shoots right here. This is fresh regen, right? These bucks are going to be here in the summertime.
A lot of browse in them.
A lot of browse. So,
Yeah, this is good looking country.
but yeah, you can do as much e-scouting as you possibly want. You
That's
got to
nice.
you got to get out there and you got to see the country, and you got to look at ridges. You see what you like, what you don't like, what entices,
You can kind of get the feel just driving through there, laying
yeah,
eyes on it.
Yeah, and then from there, it's maybe like you guys love to hang cameras, right?
Oh yeah.
Like I can tell you right now, there's, I don't know, it looks like maybe there was an apple tree over there,
Oh,
There's
this is
a
all
bunch of
apple
them.
trees in here.
right?
Yeah.
So this time of year, these apples are going to come available. They're going to ripen up. They're going to start falling, middle of August, somewhere in there. Your inventory of bucks does not need to take place at 3,000 feet.
Right.
They're down here. This is where the regen, this is where the food is.
Yep.
You can place that camera 20 yards off the road and get the same bucks here that you could back there, right?
Oh, exactly.
The only difference is they're not on the top of the ridge during the summertime. There's nothing there for them. There's no feed there, right? They're down here. They're feeding.
That's a really good tip because I like to hang a lot of cameras within 100 yards of the road, especially like any time of the year, honestly, just because I feel like if you can find a really good scrape that's near the road, yes, you're not going to kill a buck off that scrape, but at least you're going to get inventory of what's on that ridge. And, you're getting a lot of bang for your buck with scouting because you can drive out there real quick, run off the side of the road, check your camera, and then you're on your way. Maybe going to check another area or something. Opposed to hanging a camera that's 6 miles back in the timber, and that's a whole day adventure just to go pull a card.
That's huge woods off there to the right, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That's big woods.
Yeah, it is.
There's a wicked drainage right there. Huh.
On the backside, you're talking.
Well, right here, yeah, there's pretty good drainage, and then the top's all green. It's fairly round up there.
Oh, that's a shithole up in there.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Huh?
A lot of them around here like that, huh? Oh,
Yep.
Connor,
Seems
we
that
know.
way.
Well, you got to push your way through the shit.
Yeah, just head down.
Head
plowing.
down and plow.
Yep. Questioning yourself the whole time.
Why am I up here?
Yep.
So when you skidooed through here, which is a fabulous way to find
It's a
country,
great way.
there's no foliage on the tree. You gain elevation. You can stop. You can look across. There's things that appeal to your eye and don't, right? How many could you connect to the next road over or the next ridge over?
From
when
here?
When you're
Yeah,
running.
this goes straight up through there and over the backside where you're just looking on the map.
Okay.
And it wraps around that peak up there, too.
No kidding. Huh.
A lot of trails through here. So you can kind of section spots off by doing that.
Yeah, for sure.
Even in the truck in the fall, I was doing that coming up this way. If there's no
Checking
tracks,
it,
I drive
yeah.
around to the other side. There's another road over there. And you can come in that way.
Go ahead, Joey.
Any of these apples hold?
Yep. Right actually, back there, actually, that tree had apples on it in 2021, I guess it was. And right around January, the deer were all over in here.
Nice mountain ash tree.
What I like about this area, what really speaks to me is how huntable this all looks. It looks like really decent tracking out here.
Really diverse.
To the west. Yeah, diverse, and it's not just straight up and straight down. Like there's some nice saddles and points and ridges that you can work with.
It's not just one peak.
It's not just one big old straight up, straight down peak, which is tough tracking and stuff like that.
I would say one of the most important things about finding new ground, right, is sizable tracks that don't have a lot of roads through them or gated access, right? Especially in this country. There's a lot of, not per se that there's a lot of hunters around here, but when you have more areas that are vehicle accessible, you're going to have more people. It's just the way that it rolls, right? So I guess when I look at an Atlas or I pull out my Onyx, I'm looking for places that are potentially gated, right? Like you can tell on Onyx the difference between a Class 4 road and what's a trail. I mean,
You're going to lose 90% of the people if you park at the gate and walk past there.
Yep.
Shit, you go 100 yards and you're going to lose 90% of it.
Yeah, no shit.
100 yards outside the road. I bet you 9 out of 10 bucks killed off this road are from a truck. How much you want to bet?
It's funny you say that. Last season, I don't think I cut more than 2 boot tracks the whole season driving these roads up here.
You really won't. I mean,
Yeah, there's vehicle tracks all over the place the first snow, but they're not getting out.
people are afraid of the woods.
There's good softwood down through here.
Quite a few moose in here.
Is there?
Yeah.
No,
Nothing
no kidding.
big, but
Huh.
there's moose around.
I bet you get up in those peaks, those real high, gnarly ones. I bet you there's some big ones.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because I see that down by me. The bigger bulls are wicked high for some reason, and the smaller ones are down in by the roads and stuff.
Do you find that, Joey, with some of those big bulls hanging up high?
Yeah. I mean, deep, right? A lot of those bulls are places where people aren't getting to them. They're not bothered by anybody. Like anything, I guess, I feel like a lot of those bigger bucks, same way, they're living in places by themselves, away from everything, right? They just don't want to deal with people when they get to a certain age.
Right.
They've been educated enough. Like moose antlers, per se, most of those bigger bulls are in the most random deep spots or high elevation where nobody's bothering them. Hunters aren't bothering them because they get pushed around that time of year, and most of them dump at the end of muzzleloader, which is, middle of December or even well before that.
Yeah, you get all the hunters in the woods that time of year walking around, kicking them up.
And they don't mix in. Those big ones don't mix in with all the other moose. They're there with them during the rut, and when the rut's done, they're gone. They do their own thing. Yep.
They're off by themselves.
Seclusion. Yep.
Joey, I'll show you a picture of a moose I got on a mountain peak it was December 12th. He had both antlers.
Really?
Yep, I'll show you. I found it the other day. I was telling you about it.
Have you been back in there to look for them?
I was actually up in there the other day. Not on that side of the mountain, but I was looking around and nothing.
No kidding.
Nothing yet. But
This freaking truck rattles so bad.
It's a Ford.
What do you expect?
I offered for I to drive. You didn't want to take the GM.
Those things are a rough ride.
Gets us around.
It does.
It's a lot more roomy than the Golden Nugget.
Yeah. There's some rookies in this stream here, huh?
There's some guys fishing it last weekend.
No kidding.
Pretty low right now, though.
Yeah. So, what else do you look for when you're trying to find a new area, Connor? What else are you looking for?
I like to look for big stuff, obviously, but besides that, diversity, whether it's swamps, cuts, openings,
Yep.
that type of stuff, softwoods.
And
And from there, I just pretty much hike until I find deer sign, and then from deer sign, I just follow that to wherever it leads me.
No kidding. Yeah. So, at what point in the summer, like, take me through what you do leading up through, right? Like, you're working your ass off right now. Now's your time
Right.
to make money. For most of us, now's the time to make money. This is when you make your bread and butter. Are you worrying about? That's a big moose, Isaac.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. Look at the eye guards on that thing.
Oh, wow. That's a cool picture. It's snowing its
yeah.
paddles.
He just
his
got out of bed.
Sheds are right there somewhere.
He just got
That's
out
a
of
really
bed.
nice one.
Huh? No kidding.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of spruce up there to look in.
Yeah.
This time of year, do you have any cameras out? Are you
Right now, I'm putting cameras out. All my scouting was done back in, January on. It was kind of tough this past January in March or whatever because we had so much snow. Couldn't really get around to do a lot of the scouting like I like to do, but the general spots that I hunt, I've already got them figured out. So I'm just going back into those areas this time of year,
And
sticking cameras out and just getting out of there until September, say.
when you're covering ground shed hunting? So folks know, you're not only looking for antlers, but you're looking for sign.
Right.
You're looking for the next target. Right. You've got antlers on the mind, but you've got other things in the back burner, and you're making a mental note of it. Right.
Yeah, you're looking for buck sign the whole time you're out there, and you get into those spots. It just looks like a real good area to catch one. So then I'll pin that and keep it in mind for this time of year to go either stick a camera out or just walk through it again to get a feel for the area.
Yep. So a lot of these cameras that you're putting up right now, do you do anything special? Because obviously the foliage is just coming in. I mean, do you snip everything around?
I try not to leave too much scent and change stuff, but if it's in whatever swamp, I might go out in front of it and whack the ferns down.
Yep. Yep.
If there's any of the beech limbs, those oftentimes get false pictures, so I'll snap the limbs down that are in front of it.
Yep.
I like to try to tuck the cameras up out of sight though of the deer as well and people.
What height? So folks know, what height do you like to hang your camera? 6-8 feet?
Yeah, generally 6 feet head height.
Yep.
Sometimes I'll bring a climbing stick depending on the area, and I'll put it 8-10 feet as high as I can reach with a stick.
Yeah.
But the only negative with that, you only get 10 feet you're watching. So it might be okay for a scrape, but if you were to be watching a big opening, you're not going to be able to cover
Yeah.
back beyond the camera view.
I can't tell you how many cameras I've probably been on carrying a lone wolf stick, and they're probably like, "Why are they?" Because I'll do the same thing. I'll put a lone wolf stick up there. I'll climb to the top of the stick and I'll hang the camera face down. Right. That way, nobody's messing with it. Bear's not messing with it. People aren't messing with it. Because we all have that happen.
Oh yeah.
I went and checked a camera that had been up since this past October on a signpost tree, and it wasn't high enough because I got an old guy walking through with a rifle that decided to shut the camera off.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Plain as day on the camera who
Yeah.
it is too, right?
Yeah. Smart.
Yeah. Yep. But that was a pretty good. I mean, this buck has been there. I've had him on camera since 2018, and he's a pretty good buck.
Now is that where you run a lot of your cameras? Is on signpost?
Yeah, I
Even
do.
this time of year. Oh wow, that's a really nice buck. That's Vermont.
Wicked frame buck.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Long
he's a big
beams
one.
on him.
Yeah, rubbing that signpost.
Oh,
That
shit.
signpost looks like it's about as big around as a baseball bat, but it's whittled right down right there.
It's been hammered for
Yeah,
some years
and
now.
he's hit that thing since 2018, and 18 he had his tallest
rack.
Yep, his best
Yeah.
rack. Yep. And he's gone downhill ever since. But this deer is there during that end of October, November time frame, and he's gone.
Yeah.
Just coming from a long ways.
Vanishes. You
Yeah.
know? So
Now back to the stick. How many times have you been in there and forgot your stick?
it's happened a couple times.
It happened to me last weekend.
Yep.
Bear hug the tree and climb up it.
Yeah.
You know what happens to me a lot? I'm in an area where I have one hung high, and I'm not going to check it that day because I'm hunting. And then it gets the best of me when I'm in there and I see a bunch of good sign. I was like, well, I got to check it. So I have to climb the tree like a freaking
You wrap your
monkey
legs around
because
it.
I'm only like 5.5 feet tall anyway, so I can't reach anything.
Oh,
It
goodness.
happens to me all the time.
So, tell me a little bit about some of these primary scrapes, right? Like you're finding when there's not 2 feet of snow on the ground, you're finding scrapes.
That's probably my favorite place to leave cameras.
Are
Certain
you-
scrapes, but
When you come up to these scrapes, like the ones that you've already about, you're going to go, you're hanging a camera. What are you doing to them? Are you doing anything at all? Are you doctoring them? Are you kicking stuff out? Are you taking a stick and what are you doing?
I'll often open them up with just my boot, kick them open, take
Yep.
a leak in them myself, or I've used the pre-orbital gland scent before,
Yep.
as well as like buck fever synthetics, forehead gland.
Yep.
That stuff seems to work pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not all the time, but if
Yeah.
I'm in the area and I have it, I'll soak the branch with it or just piss in the scrape. That seems to work pretty good too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just pee in them.
That's all you do.
I kick
Really?
them and pee in them. I don't touch the licking branch. I'll hang one if I want it in a specific place, but
You said Smokies. You've used that in the past.
Yeah,
huh? That's
yeah,
been
that
good.
that is like my go-to, right?
That's the sauce.
For yeah, that is the sauce. That is the secret nugget right
Yeah.
there. You put that. They want to like recommend that you take like a wrench or something to the end of that licking branch, right, and just work it a little bit so it splays out.
Let it
and
soak
then
in that
like
stuff.
they'll give you a dropper, put it in there. I don't do the dropper thing. I take that stick and shove it right in there and just let it soak for a minute, and then it's good. It'll draw every buck in the area. That is a tip for you.
What is that? The pre-orbital stuff?
Yep, that's the
Yeah.
pre-orbital stuff. Yep, that is a phenomenal way to take inventory.
And that's 100% natural.
100% natural.
Yeah.
Yep,
So it's legal to use in Vermont.
yep, yep. So that is one way. So you just kick them out. You don't. I'm like a, I don't know, freak about that stuff. I'll grab a stick that's
Yeah.
got some oomph to it, and I'll scrape it out or whatever.
Yeah.
I try not to mess with them. I do not touch branches.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll grab leaves and I'll grab the branches and
Yep.
snap them like that, so I'm not leaving my hand scent on them.
Yep.
I don't know if it works or not, but
Yep,
just
yep.
paranoid.
Yeah.
I've heard old timers say that they put vanilla on the licking branch and it works really good.
Yeah. Well, that's what the buck fever stuff smells like. It's just all vanilla scent, basically.
Yeah.
I
So-
don't know what it is, but
So not to interrupt you, right? But we're at the height of the land right now, and
this is where you're talking about hunting earlier.
yeah, and there's a hiking trail right here, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got snow on the ground. That would be the first place that I would probably park and line out that hiking trail.
Route this way.
Stay right on
Yeah.
top of the ridge.
Yeah, you're already
Run
on
it.
top.
Run it.
Mm-hmm.
Run it.
Right on top, huh?
Yep. Yep.
I wouldn't.
Yep. Well, hear
That's a
me out.
rugged one.
You're gonna run the top. You're already at your highest elevation.
Yeah.
Run the top of the ridge.
Yeah. No, I get. Yeah.
To where you want to get to, rather than hiking from the bottom
Yeah,
all
no,
the way
yeah.
up.
The only reason I would say I wouldn't is just because in my past or whatever, like hunting, if I've ever parked high, I end up getting on a buck track and then I dump way down off the ridge and then I have to end up walking back uphill to my truck at night, which sucks. But
Oh, it
That's
does.
what you got your cell phone for, and you call your good buddy Connor and he'll pick you up.
he's usually in New Hampshire on some dang ridge somewhere. No, but I get what you're saying. It's a good way to do it, for especially if you have somebody to pick you up. But
Yeah, you definitely got to pick and choose your battles, right?
Yeah,
I had a
yeah.
buddy pick me up. I was 6 miles from the truck, but I was over two mountains, and I was freaking spanked.
yeah,
And it was 20 miles all the way back and around. And I could never catch that buck. He just kept running does, and he was just zombie walking is all he was doing. He'd walk and then he'd run, walk and run. And I never jumped him. I could not catch him. The next day I went back up there because there was another good one there, and I got onto that buck. And I'd shot at him in the afternoon at 30 yards. And I was headed up on him, and he was probably 220, 230, and we were getting to a point where I knew what he was going to do, and I was going, and all of a sudden when I spotted him, he was on my left, and of course I shoot left-handed, and I had a tree between me and him, and I had to step backwards to shoot. And when I took that step back, he got up out of his bed, and I just got on the other side of that tree and just let loose as he was taking off, never touched him. Long story short, he was headed that same way that I went the day before, right? And he started walking, and it was 2:30 in the afternoon. He was going downhill in the hardwood, And I was like, oh, man, I got like 5 miles back to the truck, and I cannot call Ben for another ride. 20-mile ride all the way around to go back to the truck. It's one of those things that I should have just stayed on the track and dealt with it, right? Got to the main road and said, who will give me a ride?
We need Northwood Uber service.
Yeah, yeah.
You're going
Get
to
'em on
like
the
all this
hotline.
country out here, Joey.
There's a Longbeard right there.
They
That's Jake.
Jake.
They shoot some big bucks through here.
Yeah, they do. This
they?
is really nice country out through here.
All these
That's
like low
that
ridges look
video I had
nice.
last year,
Yeah.
the one I was telling you about, was
Yeah.
up on that mountain right there.
Yeah, that's a good mountain. Good round.
Oh, yeah.
Not too.
I bet you'd see some bucks out here in the summer in these fields.
This might be a place that you'd set a camera not far off the road. They're going to be down in these green fields, right? Huh? So, primary scrapes, that's one way. Will you create a scrape? Like, let's say a saddle, a funnel, you know.
Yeah, I've tried that in the past. Not too much success. I think the most luck I've had is in like an area with this previous scrape, and whether a branch falls and the scrape's not active, I'll make my own. What
Yeah.
are these guys doing?
Yeah.
We got some out-of-staters
Yeah,
trying
we
to
got
cross the road.
out-of-staters. Oh, my goodness.
Flatlanders.
They're like, what the hell is this guy got headphones on
Well,
for?
there's 3 of them in the truck, and they got headphones on.
Bunch of pilots.
Yeah, that one actually, she's waved at you 3 times, Connor. I'm thinking,
Little 40-year-old action.
Connor.
Connor's going to go cougar hunting.
Whoop, is she smiling
this,
again,
college?
Connor?
Yeah, this is college.
I think she likes your wheels. New wheels.
That's gotta be
New
it.
wheels on the Ford.
Yeah. They like that.
So you've now had much luck creating your own scrapes.
No,
in
not really.
areas.
Certain spots, I'm sure it's situational. Like you're in the right area. If you have a scrape there, I'm sure it'll be hit.
Yeah.
I've done
Yeah,
well with it.
You have.
I've done really well
Where
with
do
it.
you
yeah.
put the scrapes?
Logging roads.
Logging roads, yeah.
It's like places where you'd think they'd be.
Junctions of
Yeah.
logging roads I've had success with.
Yeah,
If you
but-
can find a spot where there's 2, 3, 4 of them. What's Connor laughing about?
Just laughing at all these people back there.
I think he had a funny thought.
Oh, I'm sure he did. Did you want us to get out of the truck? You want to go back?
You guys could hang out
we,
here for a
we
bit.
can do the podcast on the side of the road.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, no, the best ones that I've made like before July.
Yeah. Yep.
So those are the
Let 'em
best
get
ones
used
I've
to
made.
it and start
Yeah.
working out.
Yep.
It seems like that way anyway, but
Yeah. One of the biggest Vermont bucks I've ever got on camera was at a scrape that I just kicked out. It was it was like an old game trail. Come to find out, it was actually a migration trail that they used heavy. But for whatever reason, he was living there. I kicked it out. It was underneath a spruce tree. Snapped a limb, and went back and checked that camera and muzzle loader. And he was probably 22 inches wide. He was a 12-pointer. Had split G2s. That was a phenomenal buck.
did he ever get killed?
Yeah, he was probably a mid 140s.
Wow.
You know, northern buck. Yeah, he did get killed. I think 3 years later, which he'd
Wow.
gone significantly downhill. But somebody shot him from the road, got into him, and they never found him.
Oh, man.
Dang.
Yep. Yeah, in this country, like you could drive that road 1,000 times and not see a deer, right? It's just that one time that he stepped out there and somebody whaled him.
Now, is that scrape still being hit by other bucks, or is it just him?
You want my honest opinion? I don't know. I've never gone back to it.
After he got shot, you had no desire.
Nope. I was like done with the area in a
Really?
way. Yeah, I didn't like how many people were kind of around on the outskirts either, right? There's just way too much pressure for me. And when guys start whacking little bucks, it just kills the age structure. Right?
Takes years for it to come back after you shoot 3 or 4.
It sure does.
2-year-olds.
Yeah. No, it does. I was up north this weekend, and I'd heard through the grapevine that they were making a road like 2 miles out past where it used to go. And I got to get a hold of the state to see if they're going to put a gate on it, because if they don't,
Are they logging that now? Is that what they're doing?
nope, they're
Just
not
putting a
logging
road
it.
in.
They're just putting a road in. It's state land, and
For what?
I think they're going to.
Hunters?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be bird watching and that type of crap. So, anytime you have roads into bigger areas further and further, it just kills the age structure of the animals. I
Good
don't
and
care.
bad.
Yeah, moose, deer, everything. You need big area to put to grow age classes. Just, There's nothing else about it.
in the Northeast, I think in the Midwest, everybody's on board with letting bucks go.
Yeah.
But it seems like in the Northeast, we haven't caught up to that yet, and we may never. It's just our heritage, you know. And
Yeah, and there's so many more factors that play into it, right? Like, 120-inch deer in these parts is a damn good deer, right? Like,
Yep.
you
That's as
take
big
the,
as you could ever get.
yeah, you know,
Some
the
of
guys
them.
in the West aren't
No.
going to whack that. No,
No.
way.
Have you guys seen the 1 buck rule make an impact in Vermont?
I don't like it.
You don't like it?
I don't like it. I think it's great. I think that one with a gun and you're done, right? Like that portion, I
Gets
think
the
is
meat
great.
Hunters out of the woods.
But I don't hardly bow hunt anymore because I don't want to fill my bow tag.
Right.
Right? Like I want my bow tag for gun season. I want to be able to track, right? Like I want
Makes
to be able
sense.
to leave out my back door and go. That's the only thing I don't like about it. I don't know if it makes a shit's bit of difference anyways or not. I mean, what was it? Like 600 people or 400 people killed two bucks in the
Right.
state
How
of
many
Vermont.
guys are actually shooting 2 bucks?
I mean, that was it's like a buck and a half a town or $2 a town. Like that's nothing in the grand scheme of things.
Now I'm going to be a devil's advocate back here in the back seat.
Yeah.
A lot of guys are now passing on a smaller buck where they wouldn't have before if they knew they had that second tag.
Yeah.
So in my areas, I think the 1 buck tag has helped a lot. And I've seen a lot more bucks like on camera and a lot more buck sign. That's just my opinion.
Sorry to cut you off. Do you want to go straight to your spot?
Yeah, or we can go up over where you were saying. I don't
Doesn't
care.
matter to me.
I don't care. Wherever,
Alright.
dude.
So I will rebuttal with that, right?
Yep.
So the guy that wants to kill the 4-pointer, right? Like
Yep.
let him kill the 4-pointer and he's done. He's gone. He's out of there, right? The odds of me tracking a buck and pushing it to that stump hunter, he's gone. He's already shot his 4-pointer. That's the only,
That's what I like about New Hampshire's gun season.
Yeah.
Someone wants to shoot a doe with their rifle first weekend, they're out of the woods.
out of it.
Yep.
Yep.
But that buck's still dead.
What, that
The
4-pointer?
4-pointer.
Yeah, but at least he's not killing the 10 that I'm trying to shoot, or that 200-pound buck. I mean, how often or not, the biggest buck in the woods is not killed by the guy that's tracking it. It's killed by the guy that's picking his nose on a stump.
Yep.
Right.
No, that's
You know,
true.
most of the
Walking or
time,
not.
the guy that doesn't even, he'd have been happy in Connor's case over there in New Hampshire. He'd have been happy with the doe.
Oh, yeah.
And that happened to me one year. I was bow hunting a nine. This was back in Stowe. He had probably 26-inch beams. Only had 4 or 5-inch tines. Guy killed him during muzzleloader season. Thought it was a doe.
Really?
Had his head down. Yeah, yeah. Deer
man.
had the head down.
Quite
yeah.
a surprise
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Thankfully, he had a buck tag in his pocket.
Yeah, right.
But
They call
that's-
that a yippee buck.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. But nah, I don't know. Take it or leave it. One of these days, I'd like to have Nick Fortin on this thing, who is the Vermont deer biologist, and have him talk about
Right.
why the state does what they do and the difficulties surrounding managing this.
I mean, you look at New
Diverse
Hampshire, you can
habitat.
shoot 3 bucks down there.
Yep.
Was
Yep.
it 2 with your bow and 1 with a gun? Or all 3 with a bow if you wanted it?
Can you shoot 3 with a bow?
I don't even know how
Whereabouts?
that
I think
works. In
you
New
definitely
Hampshire?
kill 2 with a bow and 1 with a gun.
No,
Yeah,
Two with
yeah,
a bow,
you
one
can.
with a gun.
Yeah,
they got that special tag. But and same thing in Maine. You can shoot two bucks with a bow.
Oh, you can?
Or sorry, 2 bucks in a calendar year. One can be in that expanded zone,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
and
that's
then
right.
one with a gun. So, yeah.
Do they give gun tags in expanded, or is it just bow?
I think I don't know. I don't know much about it. Something we should look into. Go down there to York.
Oh, man.
You know how we were busting on York with
Yeah.
Eric Adams?
yeah.
I just talked to him today on the phone, and he was down there and said, "Giant, giant on the ocean."
Guaranteed.
Yeah,
No, I know it's
Ernie
good.
got
The whole
170
coast
inches
is
on his
good.
head.
yeah,
The whole coast is good.
yeah.
It's loaded with deer, but it's also thick as can be.
Yeah.
It's not like easy hunting,
So,
and it doesn't snow.
Right.
Yeah.
Keeps them alive there.
So-
So, back to summer scouting. So, at what point in time will you go back and check your cameras? I mean,
Probably be like end of August, early September. I'll start going out to them and checking them.
yeah,
Last year, my issue was I hung them so early in like March and April when I was shed hunting. They all died come end of August, September timeframe. So if I didn't get to the camera by September, I lost all fall's worth of pictures.
Yep. Inventory.
Yeah.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
no, generally like September, right before bow season starts, I like to go through, see what bucks have stuck around through velvet, shift, and all that stuff. Oftentimes I'll lose a lot of them and new ones will show up. So
Right.
you got to
right.
kind of leave the cameras there through September, I find,
Yep.
to get
yep.
a good idea of what's around.
A lot of these cameras that you're running are just regular cameras. They're
Right,
they're not
right.
cell cameras. They're places that you don't have service, and you're hanging them and leaving them and walking away. And
Right.
you'll do the same thing in the after deer season just to see what kind of inventory is still kicking around.
Yeah, I'll often leave the cameras up all through the winter even.
Yeah. Yep.
Sometimes I can't get to them in time before we get a lot of snow, and that's why I leave them. But other times I'll just leave them just to see what bucks might come out of the mountain ranges or just be in the area still that are around mid
Yep.
of the season.
Yep.
And it gives you a good idea for sheds. If you got bucks in there in mid to late December that are still holding, they're probably not going to be too far come shed time.
Yeah. Yeah. Better hold this thing so we don't lose it. So how many signpost cameras will you run? Do you run any?
I only run 1 or 2 on signposts, actually.
Yeah.
I haven't had very good luck doing that. Just
What-
a couple. Actually, the buck I killed last year in New Hampshire, I had him on one big signpost, and he was the only buck that ever hit it.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Huh. A lot of my signposts that I have, put cameras on, I put them on and walk away, right? And then I go back to them and see that, oh, yeah, there's a good buck on there. Well, that buck's already dead,
Right.
right? Like that happened this year. There was one that was killed. It was 217, and I'd have him the last 3 years. He's just a giant 6-pointer, right?
Because you just check them when you're in the area hunting, right? You don't go in there
Yeah.
specifically to check them or any of that.
Yeah, and most of the time I don't even go during deer season really and check them.
You'll just let them run all deer season.
Yeah, similar to, what Stefan was talking about in the last podcast, like I'll cover as much ground as I can first thing in the morning via the vehicle, right? And if I can pick one up that way, that is the easiest way to pick one up without exerting any kind
Right.
of energy, right?
You start fresh.
You start fresh, and if you can't, then you're lining out and trying to find one. But yeah, very rarely will I go and check those signposts, and most of the time, honestly, like our season here in Vermont, they're done with those signposts, right? They're that October 25th to November 14th time frame. We don't even have a season in there, right? And most of the time, they're done with them. They're chasing does.
It's bow season.
Yep.
It's bow season then, right? Yeah.
Yep. And I've actually bow hunted over one of them for a
Really?
little. Yep. Never mounted to pistol and
Yeah, you
snow.
might
But
sit there a couple weeks.
yep. Yep.
What
So-
about you, Isaac? Do you run many on signposts?
Yeah, I got one good one I'm running a camera on right now. I have it in video mode. I haven't picked it up from last fall, but it's a pretty good one. It's funny actually. You were in there with me that one year filming, and remember that really good one that
The
was
one
in
that
there?
fell over?
It fell over, and they picked a new tree like 100 yards away, and they started hammering on it
Yep.
last season, and now it's like all the bucks that were hitting that one that fell over are now hitting this new one, and it's like the same size tree, same kind of tree. It's an ash, and that's a good tree. I think it's very specific to the area, or how many good bucks are in the
Right.
area is how active it's going to be, whatever. Like, I don't find a lot of them in Vermont. I just actually found this past rifle season, I found my best signpost I've ever found in Vermont, which is a thigh-size ash. And it's in an area I've hunted my whole life. I just never found it. So it just goes to show you, sometimes you just missing them. There's might be one in there.
I've
Just-
actually seen them like right next to the parking lot quite a few
Oh,
times
my
too.
gosh.
You get out and just all banged up.
Me too.
You go over, cut the tree down.
Yeah, right in a pull-off.
Yeah.
The best time to find them is tracking bucks.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
They'll lead you to them. That's probably the way that I've found most of them. I found quite a few shed hunting.
Have you found a lot in Vermont?
A lot of signposts.
Yeah.
I bet you I know probably of 75 of them or so.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It's a different country that you're hunting, though, for sure.
Do you find
yeah,
more
it is.
signposts and scrapes in that country?
Yeah, you don't really see that much buck sign in the north, right?
Right.
Like, you don't see big trees banged up. Like if you see a 3-inch across tree, that for the most part, it's not a signpost. That's a pretty good rub,
Yep.
right? Like you just don't see a lot of buck sign. There's not a lot of bucks. But signposts, they act like a community scrape in a way,
Do they?
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
primary scrape. They'll go to them. I get just as many doe and fawns, rubbing their heads on the
Yep.
on the signposts as I do bucks. And most honestly, like a lot of the bucks that hit those signposts, they're like Isaac says, they're thigh-sized signposts. They're little bucks. I remember 2 years ago, the tree was a big tree, is raked. And I was like, oh, man, I got something good on here. And I had some good bucks, but all they did was scent check it from a distance. They just walked by it. It was the little bucks that were railing it.
All worked up
And
on it.
yeah, all worked up on it. You know what I mean? And you would have never guessed it.
No.
If you walked up to it and I showed it to you, you'd have been, holy shit, what's on that
Oh,
camera?
yeah.
You know? But
Yeah, it makes you question. You see these huge rubs and you're out there and you immediately think it's some giant rack buck.
yeah.
More often than not, it might not be.
Yep.
It's got a lot to do with the buck's personality.
Right, the
Because,
aggression.
I mean, I've been after a buck. Connor, you know the buck I'm talking about for 4 years now. And
the Beach Tree Thrasher.
oh, my, he just kills humongous trees. And it's a lot of fun hunting a buck like that because it's always, you know, you walk up over a hill and you see a tree that's 12 inches around, completely destroyed. It's
Just
like,
all twisted
oh,
up.
my God, you know, like just. But, anyways, I think it has a lot to do with the buck.
Yeah. Yeah.
But-
No, it definitely does. Every one of them is a little bit different.
Yeah.
But
I've been after bucks that don't rub a bit, like maybe couple little trees here and there, and they have 140-inch racks. So
That screwed me a lot of times. I'll often just focus too much on the sign when really
Yeah.
either the sign's made at night or the bucks just aren't laying the sign down.
they're just not laying them down. Some of them don't, and I think some get big that way. Some get big because they're just not super aggressive,
Right.
and they don't rut real hard because they don't have the urge. You know, they're probably rutting, but they're not rutting like that. You know, that crazy buck that's going 30 miles one direction looking for a hot doe. You know, it's
Right.
just like, you know, people are all different too. It's you know.
that buck that I was hunting a couple years ago with a bow up north, he scored 145 inches with no brow tines, right?
kidding.
Like I thought he was going to be very close to being a state record if I could kill him.
Yeah, it's a giant.
And I had him on this scrape, this primary scrape, and he was there within 20 minutes of daylight numerous days, and I just could not connect the dots. Long story short, and there's Fabio.
Oh, long hair.
Yeah. Long story short, he was killed not far from there, and his fat. He had a ton of fat in him. This was during muzzleloader. Had a ton of fat in him, and the buddy of mine whose friend killed him said all the fat was almost like marbleized. It was all real like yellow hued. They figured that deer, and I knew he wasn't 200. He weighed 180 during muzzleloader, and the best that they can figure is that he did not rut one bit.
That's why he kept all his fat.
That's why he kept all his fat.
Do you
He
think
just was
like
one of
hanging
those
right in that
deer.
spot,
Yep.
not moving much.
Yep. One of those deer that just didn't rut.
No kidding.
And they'll say that about a lot of the bigger ones out west. That most of those great big bucks, the ones with H class, do not rut.
And they're probably not laying the sign down either if they're not
Yep.
whatever
Yep.
worked up.
Yep.
Going back through that field there, last season I was driving down this road, cut a huge buck track. It's like, oh, I'll keep going up this road, turn around. Turned around, went back to the track. Sure enough, some young guys coming down off the hill on that track.
Really?
Yeah. So
Huh.
he kept after it.
So off to my right, how much woods is there? Quite a bit.
It's big. Yeah, it goes all the way out over
Really?
to that main road we were on earlier.
No kidding. And is there any class 4s or anything jetting up in here?
I don't think so. I mean, there might be some class 4s like off some of these dirt roads here, but mainly just hiking trails.
It's big country, big, rugged.
There's a little hunting camp up here, some nice racks all on it.
Oh yeah.
Lets you know you're in the good area.
Oh yeah, that's a good tip.
Yeah. Good thing to clue in on.
Yep. Yep, I do that a lot.
Isaac, do you have any cameras out right now, or are you still working on getting those out?
Yeah, I have probably 20 or so out right now that I haven't wrangled from last year.
No kidding. That'll be a whole summer project, just running
yeah.
around those things.
Most of them are all just regular cameras. I'm going to move a lot of them, kind of switching gears this year. But
This place right here. Look at
Oh,
these
yeah.
racks in that game pole.
Come
Yep.
on.
yeah, some nice ones.
Those are good
Yeah,
racks.
they
Yeah.
are.
It's got to believe
Yeah.
this guy right here. We should pull in and see if he wants to jump on the podcast.
Little live podcast action. Oh, it must
Huh.
be him.
Yeah,
He's-
an older
he's
gentleman.
driving some golf balls.
Yeah,
right
he
now.
is. He looks a little
I
pissed
better
off
get
that
moving.
we're slowing down. Look,
He's just running one this way.
That's funny. He's probably somebody
Goddamn.
Somebody-
beer
who was staying at that camp's probably who was on that track. How much you want to bet?
runners. Oh, it could be.
so Isaac, will you get a lot of cameras out anytime soon? Will you wait till like after the 4th of July?
Yeah,
Kind of once bucks have grown what they're gonna. You can tell what they're gonna be.
Yeah, I wait till after I wait till like end of July usually, just because I don't really care what they're doing right now.
Yep.
And I think I've noticed that bucks will shift the end of July in the mountains, and then they'll shift again the end of September. And then if you want to go even deeper, they shift real hard during the rut. It's a little bit more of a random shift, but seems to be end of July, end of September. Those are like the ones that I've kind of noticed. And I like to try to catch that end of July shift if I can.
Yeah, in that shift, after they go hard horned, that second week of
Yep.
second week of September, they really shift in, and that's when a lot of those bucks are headed. They're headed back.
I've heard the Drearies talk about end of August. They'll have the rut bucks come cruising through just 1 or 2 times, still in velvet, but just checking out that range.
Just
I've
checking out
seen
the
that.
I noticed it too. Yeah,
I've seen that.
Yeah.
And then one thing I wanted to hit on really quick, one thing that I've noticed with cameras is there's some bucks that will not shift at all.
Right.
There's a fox right there, pretty one.
Oh yeah, nice one.
Yeah. Nice coat on him. He's looking at something. He's
You should take
mousing.
a video of that for IG. Huh.
Oh, you could get
He's got something in
mousing.
his mouth, doesn't
Yeah.
he? Huh? That's cool.
Oh, look at that ridge right
that's
there.
a big ridge.
Beauty.
That's a beauty right there, yeah.
another big one up there.
That
Oh,
is a
yeah.
big ridge. Huh.
I've hunted that a few times from this side.
Oh, from this end.
Yep,
Okay.
I have.
I've never been on this side, just the other end.
Yep. It's yeah. One thing that I noticed about that big ridge right there, there's some really nice country down on the base of it, and it's all posted up really tight. I think a lot of your big ones end up down in
I'm
there.
sure, but
What I liked about it was there's softwood just part way up.
yeah, you can see that right
Yeah,
there.
and then there's hardwood above it.
More softwood above that.
Yeah,
Even.
yeah. You get like those softwood knobs right there. You can guarantee that those are going to be bedding on those things,
Yep.
right? Like if it's bare ground, that is a sweet spot to get in there. Even before daylight, hang out a little bit, or go check. Usually there'll be bucks cruising through those
Be a
spots.
good like bear down. Blah, can't speak. Bare ground poking around.
Yep.
Up on those little knobs.
I like those secondary
Oh, yeah.
knobs off the
Oh, yeah.
peaks, or little spur ridges that come down
Yeah.
off the main ridge.
Yeah, those
are
are
always good.
money.
Yeah,
And one time up on that ridge right there that we're looking at on this side, it's one of my regrets tracking. I took a smaller track way up into the top of that thing, and he cut way across, and he was checking it. He'd go to every single spruce knob like you guys are talking about, and you could see where he'd stand out on the edge of it, and he'd plant his feet, and he'd stand there for a second. I think he was winding for does off the top, and after 4 or 5 miles, I ended up giving up on him because I just didn't think he was a real big buck. But I wish I would have just stayed on him because, we talk about it all the time. They don't have to have the biggest track, I was all the way up in there, and I'd already done all. I dedicated,
Put the effort in, yeah.
I wish I would have just stayed on him,
Just to get a look at
just
him.
to get a look at. Maybe I would have never caught him to what he was doing, but
That's a big
That's
ridge.
a wicked range.
oh yeah, yeah,
And that runs up north quite a ways, doesn't it?
like yeah.
Up your way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks
That's
pretty
good.
good.
It's good.
That looks real good.
There's some oak, actually, I believe, down on this side, right?
Yep.
You found that, Isaac?
Yep.
By some fields.
Yep.
I think I checked that out last year. I couldn't get in. It was all posted.
Yep.
Well, I think it's safe to say that we're constantly looking for new ground, and I can say myself that I'm looking for new ground.
You got to.
Anybody out there that's got a big old buck that they want to see, that they want to touch, let me know about it. I'll let you hold him. I will let you hold
They
him.
can even get a picture, huh?
Yep. You got one that you can't kill, and you want me to take him out, weed him out before he gets too old. You
Get
let
those
me know.
smart genetics out of there.
What would you say your guys' range is from your home? How many hours away are your spots? And because I can tell you right now, my range is about 3 hours right now. Any direction, 3 hours, you can bet your butt. I've been around there. I've been snooping around and probably hunted near there. But what is your guys' range, do you think?
I would say 2.5 hours is probably
Yep.
most of within that of what I'll do.
I would say rifle season, like when there's tracking snow, I'll range out 2 hours or so. But during
Yep.
bow season, I try to stay closer areas, spots I've scouted out,
Yep.
been into a lot more.
Yep.
Yeah, bow season's definitely tough because you're working.
Right. You're limited time that time
Yep.
of year.
Yep. Where's that road go?
I couldn't tell you.
Huh.
I'm not even sure if I'm going the right way right now.
Huh.
Yeah, you are, Connor.
I am. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was, early 20s, I'd get done work at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'd drive over New Hampshire and bow hunt.
Yep.
That was a lot of fun.
That's nice too. That early season, you can hunt till whatever time it's dark out, 8 o'clock or something.
Yeah, it's so patternable
Yeah.
that time of year, too.
Yep, exactly.
And I
That's
didn't really care what I shot.
Right.
I had 2 buck tags, and
Yeah. With the bow too, who cares?
yep.
That's something I want to do a lot more this summer is shine over there. I
You
haven't
can
gotten into
shine
that.
over there?
Yeah.
Until September 1st, I believe.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No kidding.
I know some buddies who always see big bucks. It seems like at least once every summer doing that. I think it'd be a good way to get on something for that early season.
We'll have to take the GMC, the Pinnacle
do it.
Painting all lettered up truck, and go
right.
shine some fields. You want to?
I'm down.
That'd
We'll
be
go
good
all
for
night.
business.
It's a lot of fun. We did it last year.
Yeah.
And it's not great for the sleeping, but it's great for just fun. Just
Yeah.
ride
Good
around and look
pastime.
at deer. You can in New York too.
Really?
You can in New York, I'm pretty sure, all season.
PA's another one that
Yeah.
you can, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm sure it could be pretty effective. I know. I think it's Joe Rentmeester from Hunting Beast.
Oh,
He
yeah.
talks about that in Wisconsin, shining
Oh,
at
yeah.
whatever in the middle of the rut, getting on bucks
Oh,
that
yeah.
way.
I can imagine that it's very lethal in that aspect of things,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
You shining. I've always thought that having the
You're gonna be taking your next ride.
infrared,
Yep.
Yep.
right? Having infrared, driving around.
Oh yeah.
Why go look for deer just before dusk?
Right.
Going to look for a deer cruise, you throw those infrareds on and look at the field when it's dark out. You're going to
That's
see
when the
what
big one's going to be out there anyway.
exactly. Yeah.
Isaac's camera, we're going to do that this summer. There's night vision. That should
Yeah.
be pretty sick.
Yeah, I got that Sony AX700. It's
Yeah.
got night vision.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's not like infrared, but like you can, with a little bit of light, you can see a lot.
We get the old 2000
There's a
lumen
rub
out there.
underneath that apple tree right back
there?
there. Yep.
On those little alders.
Yep.
Boy, they love to rub them alders, don't they?
Oh yeah.
I want to plant. Oh, there's deer right there. Bunch of
there?
them. Yeah.
Yeah. There's 4 of them.
Use 'em.
Yep.
You're not even gonna back up and see if it's got antlers? Come on, man. We're looking. We're looking for
I
deer
didn't see 'em.
country.
Yeah, look at that ridge right there.
Freaking next Boone and Crockett's right underneath our nose, and you're
He's gotta
driving
be-
by
I'm
at
just looking
40.
up this house up here off to the left.
Don't worry about that. That yellow sign right there, that
That's
just
why
means it's
they're there.
really good hunting.
Those.
And there's turkeys in there with
This
them.
looks like a John John spot if I seen one.
Huh. Yeah, right? John, if you're listening to this.
Boy, he runs a lot.
turkey
Of,
right there,
he
too,
runs
huh?
a lot of cell cameras. That old boy.
Man.
Oh, no, this is a different John.
John
This-
Wright, you're
Oh,
yeah, John Wright. Man,
yeah,
he
John
flashes
Wright. He's
those
got to
things.
slow down on those
That
cell
freaking
cams.
guy must have a wicked cell plan.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, I heard he's got a lot of them.
Yeah.
Enough most people's car payments.
I heard
Joey-
that's how he shot that 160. He
Yep.
had it on camera that morning.
Yep.
Walked up in there, cut his track.
Yep. Yep.
now, Joey, would you head right up into that spruce right there to cut a track?
No, I wouldn't.
No.
Where would you
No.
go then if you were pulling up in here
I
right
could
now?
tell you that you're probably going to cut one right there on that shelf. See where that shelf right
that
there
looks
is all
nice.
softwood, and then you got hardwood above it, and then to the softwood. I probably would head right for that shelf.
Probably one coming
But if
down
there
from
wasn't
that
one there,
shelf.
you wouldn't go any higher.
No, I wouldn't go any higher. That thing's steep.
That looks like shit
that's,
up
that's,
top.
Yeah, that's too much deadwood.
Really?
Yeah, you'd want to find something more into the mix,
that.
right? Like on that south end right there.
I
You
bet
can see
you
the
on that
hardwood.
point, too.
Yep, mixed in with that. I'm sure back in the day there was moose that yarded in there, and I'm sure because of it, it's like old field up in there, right? It's all browsed off.
Yep.
I'm
Up in
sure
the
you can
spruce.
see for a couple hundred yards in there.
The big Giborbus is going to be up off that point right there.
Right
Yeah.
up in those
That's
ledges
where I'm
up in
gonna head.
there.
Yeah.
Right up into the tickly weeds. If you're finding snowshoe hair tracks, you're in big buck country. That's my rule of thumb.
Yeah, it's because you can't get out of there. It's so thick.
He's stuck.
But you wouldn't believe how many big buck tracks I've cut up in something like that, though. You really wouldn't.
Yeah.
It's
there's-
stupid.
There's a reason he's there.
Oh yeah,
Whatever it is, there's always a reason why he's.
because no one else is.
Yeah,
going up
he's
in there.
unpressured. Maybe there was a doe up there.
Now, this is all the posted land I was talking about at the base. This whole thing for a few miles down here looks like this down in here.
This is road hunter galore, I'm
It-
sure.
oh, but this all down through here is
Oh, never
kind of swampy, and it looks like really big buck country all down through here.
Is there acorns right here?
There's
Up
some,
a little bit
yeah.
further, there is an oak patch I
No
found
kidding.
last fall.
Yeah. And to me, all that posted stuff down through there just screams big buck country to me.
I'm sure they're all down low here.
Yeah. It's tough. When you have a big ridge like this, it's tough, I think, sometimes to have a big one up in there when they have such good habitat down in on the bottom.
And with ridges so big like that, the next ridge over is just as good.
Yeah.
Or
This
it's the
is
same
good.
habitat.
This is good country right here.
That's nice.
It is very good country.
Yeah.
Probably quite a few deer around this part, I'm sure.
There's a barn cat, Isaac.
Hey,
You got that BB gun? Or the 12 gauge?
barn cat.
Yeah. We know how
Actually-
you like chasing your barn cats.
That's when I started tracking.
Mm-hmm.
See, look at this is more of that stuff I was talking about, the posted land down in here. You can't tell me that this isn't.
It's probably wicked summer habitat for them, too.
Oh, yeah.
The only
now.
thing about this would make me nervous is a lot of those bigger bucks coming down in here getting whacked during muzzleloader,
I'm sure of it.
hanging
I'm sure it
around,
happens every year in here.
hanging around all these houses.
I think they're probably hanging down in here right during the whole season.
Yeah, they probably are. There's a lot of apples in here.
You get a.
Isn't that something, all the apple trees, huh?
Yeah, I tell you, one year in New Hampshire, we were hunting. We were scouting actually, and there was a cemetery, and there was apple trees, and the apple trees were loaded right off the corner of the cemetery. Stuck cameras there, and there was a 140-inch 9-pointer, and it was probably a mid 150s 8-pointer. It was friggin' huge.
Where was that?
Do you really want to know where that was?
No.
Vermont or New Hampshire?
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire, yeah. Figured.
You've driven down that road, I'd guarantee it. Yeah.
My mind's working now.
Oh yeah, you've driven down that road.
Cemetery,
Yeah.
cemetery.
Yep.
No, but I've found a lot of times on these big ridges, you'll only cut, like, it seems to be like a mediocre buck track. And when you come back down through at night or whatever, or maybe the next morning when you're heading back up in, you find that big whomper track down in here by these houses. It seems to be that way more than not. But I think it has to do with the does. Where are the does? And where is the pressure, you know? And down in these houses, I think a lot of times they just don't get the pressure.
People are probably just walking right by them, going right up to
Exactly,
their
yeah.
ridges.
And I'm not going to say it's like that every time.
Right.
It's just, I've seen that so much where like it's a big, huge track is down in on, and you get up way up in the mountains and it's like this, you know, it's probably a 4-pointer up in.
You know what my problem is, right? Like, there's good bucks to be had. I just don't go south. Like, it's not in my hunting vocabulary. Like,
Yep.
wherever I am, I always drive north. Very rarely will I drive south.
That's fine. You can stay up there.
I know.
You can have that.
The country is way different, too. It's not this steep and rugged as
It's
that.
different hunting for
I've
sure.
never even been up there.
We got to get you up there, Connor.
I'd be down.
It's different.
All cuts, huh? Mostly cuts, at
Yeah,
least.
there's a lot of regen. That's what grows those heavy deer.
I know last year when I went up to the Northeast Kingdom, it's the most pressure I've ever seen in Vermont in my life.
Yeah, it's getting to be pretty bad.
It's bad. Like way worse than anything I've ever seen.
Yeah, it never used to be that way.
These damn
Wow.
podcasts.
Yeah, it's thanks to you guys. God.
Well, here we are finding new ground.
That's right. That's why we're doing it. You got to be ahead of everybody else.
Oh, it's a nice log cabin.
New ground to
Nice
Joey.
houses up through here.
Yeah, this is all new
Connor,
ground to me.
I think we might be getting conned here.
Yeah, you might. You just might.
So, I
This
see
is
them
all
on his
ground-
Onyx
This
over
is
here.
all ground that we've hunted.
Yeah.
And now Joey's going, okay.
Now there'll be
Should I
Pinnacle
shut
Painting
my
truck
Onyx
pulled over
tracker
here.
off?
He's just dropping pins the
The
whole
whole
way.
time, yeah. Pull off here, parking
Yeah.
spot there.
You know, one thing I think is a lot of guys, when they think of scouting, they think of doing like a big 10, 12-mile day out on this mountain and putting up a bunch of cameras and, you know, like really earning it and getting after it. But I think that if you just spend a day in a truck with a buddy covering tons of ground, putting your eyeballs on a tons of country, it's way more beneficial than you going and hiking 10, 12 miles up on the side of one ridge. You know, I think just covering the ground with the truck and putting your eyes on it, maybe having a conversation with somebody at a check-in station or a reporting station or a gas station. Hey, does anybody kill any big deer around here? You know, how many 200-pounders got checked in last year? I think that's so much. You're so much better off doing that
Yeah, I mean, you're onto something there, right? Like,
Yeah.
You and I were just talking about earlier, and Connor, I'd stopped into that general store where they check in deer.
Yeah.
The 2 biggest deer came from the same town, right?
That's all you need just to push you that direction a little bit.
Yep.
But get you in the game.
But everything's green right now, right?
Yeah.
It's the first of June. For us to waller around in the woods right now is pretty well pointless.
It is.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
It sucks.
So covering ground, seeing something that sparks your interest, go with your gut, get in there when things start changing, and cover ground.
This
Right.
road is wild, isn't it?
It is.
Corey's calling. Should we answer it and throw him on the podcast?
Throw 'em
Sure,
on
go ahead.
live.
Put it on speaker. Just hold it up to the mic.
Corey,
What do you know about big bucks?
what do we
looking
know
for
about?
'em.
We're looking for him right now. You are actually on a podcast, Corey. You're calling in. What is your question? Is this Big Bucks Anonymous?
Yeah, I have an emergency. I can't stop thinking about big bucks.
What's
do
Corey
too.
Ryder up to today?
Oh, I'm in the horizontal position right now. Pretty smoked.
Pretty smoked. Long day of working.
This whole working all the time thing, it's
Little overrated. We're gonna lose you, Corey.
Look at these ridges.
I think we
over
already
here.
lost you, buddy.
That shit's steep.
He's out.
Yeah, look
We're
at
on
this.
top of the mountain.
We went over the wrong side of it.
Hey,
Look
that
at this
was-
over in here. There's some big wombats out in here.
This
Big ones.
Wombyville.
this
Big
road is
Wombyville.
freaking
I hope my brakes work in this thing.
rugged.
Yeah, I'll be bailing
Skirting
if
down
not.
here.
Drop her in first. And let her
Yeah. Blow that tranny right out of her.
Yeah, it's a big ridge.
oh, it's big.
That
good
one's
town
got
right there.
that one's got a big one on it.
Oh, yeah.
Man, that's a huge ridge.
That one's got a big one on it.
Look how long that thing goes too.
That's the one.
That's a pin dropper right there.
oh, yeah. But as you know, Joey, you track on a mountain like this,
Yeah,
you're,
it's gonna whoop your ass.
it's going to whoop your ass.
Now you watch the road, would you? It's freaking steep. Don't worry about your damn on.
Oh, I've been down here. That's where Big Womby was that
Yeah,
year.
that
Right up
was-
in there.
Yeah,
Really?
that's what I was
Shit.
just going to say, Connor. That's
We gotta go see. There's got to be a road that goes into that valley.
It doesn't.
There's a driveway that goes up in and you can park at. I've been up
Yeah,
in
but
there.
there's no roads out in there.
I'm pretty good at begging for forgiveness.
Dude, look
Tell
at
me
this.
to
We
paint their
don't. I'm
house.
Look
not
at this
gonna ask
over here.
permission. We'll
Look at
beg
this
for
over here.
forgiveness. Yeah, that's
You
good
throw
stuff.
a baseball right there, and it
could.
falls 1,000 feet.
That's unreal.
Yeah, but
Imagine
that
flipping
river
right down
bottom
over there.
with that ridge on the other side, that river, they're gonna run that river bottom.
Tell me more about this river bottom thing. I hear you talk about it all the time. What do you look at drainages and river bottoms? Like what
I
am
would say that's probably one of the easiest ways to gain inventory, or let's say it's bare ground and you're gonna, let's say it's bare ground, you're gonna stand hunt or still hunt or something, right? Like those bucks are gonna cruise that river bottom because that's where those does are living. That is the easiest way for them to pick up scent of a doe as well as lay it down, right?
You walk those looking for tracks ever?
Yep.
Now-
I mean, I should back up a little bit. There is no better place to find a track than crossing soft dirt, right? Like, you can walk the side of this road, though we're between two huge mountains. You're not going to see a deer track here, right? You walk up that side of that river where it's soft dirt. You're going to find something.
Yeah, you'll find the crossings doing that.
Yep.
I know when I hike up into a mountain, I always take the brook. I call them a mountain highway because it's the fastest, easiest, best way up in.
Straight shot up in.
Yep. And for a lot of people, bow hunting, that is a great access way to get into their stand is go up the brook, right?
This is that camp I was talking about earlier.
Oh, really?
That the guy sold that I knew, and we used to,
That's where
used
you dropped them off that day. huh?
Yeah, I went and had a
Okay.
beer with him.
See,
What
up
it-
on that top up there, that's where I jumped that big one that day. And he came down zigzagging. Came down
Really?
across this main road.
No kidding.
Yep.
Huh.
Yeah, but there's no roads out there.
There's nothing, huh?
There's a
No.
driveway that or actually this road right here goes up in and you can park. There's a little pull out.
Yeah, but it doesn't go up in.
No, it just
It's just right there.
half mile up. This is that field where that giant
Wh-
came down.
What's up this road?
That's the road I was talking about. It just goes up in
Yeah, just
half mile
yeah.
stops.
Huh.
There's no roads.
I got a
up in there.
camera up in that basin.
Look at all these apple trees right here.
Well, this
Oh,
is
yeah.
that field where that giant was right down here.
Yeah, this is where Nate
Nate saw
almost
it.
Nate almost poked him right in this.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
They
think I'd be
cross
getting a
us.
camera right here at the
I got
bottom
one
of
up in
that.
that
Look
basin.
at that. Oh, you do have one?
Yeah.
There's
There's
huge.
a nice 8-point on it
There's
last
huge
year.
scrapes all up in this spruce right here. I saw when I was up in here.
This is
That's
the other
pretty good.
side that goes up to that other hollow you were talking about.
Yeah.
No kidding. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's good
Good
turf.
stuff.
There's an apple orchard like halfway up this knob over here, on the side of the mountain.
I
Like
jumped a deer right out of that last year.
It's pretty nice.
Uh-huh.
Pretty nice apple orchard.
Huh?
Good spot.
Yeah, that's good ground.
I'll show you right
They
where we
cross here
parked.
like crazy, I think.
Yeah, I'll show you right where we parked and where Nate got out and saw
There's
the
apple
deer.
tree right there.
We parked right here, Joey. Right, a little more.
Right in this opening.
Right in this opening. Right where this. Yep, we parked right here, and that buck was right down over that bank.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Mega Wombi.
Yeah.
When you say that, how big we talking?
140s, Nate says.
Really?
Yeah, I never got eyes on it, but
Wow.
yeah.
I'm sure that guy sees deer right there all the time.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
Who was the guy that saw that?
That
deer?
house right back there.
Okay. Yeah, you probably saw him crossing that field all the time.
He said he's seen him for years. He's like, "You boys, you see that big buck?"
You finally got him.
No
Nate's
kidding.
like, "Nope." Nate's probably laughing right now listening to this.
Nate's still sour about that. He had the biggest buck of his life right there.
Isaac
Oh.
wouldn't let him shoot it.
Oh.
Nope.
Old schoolhouse.
Different country, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, it is. Now, is there many people hunting this that you've come across?
I came across quite
Yes.
a few boot tracks up in there last year.
No, people hunt this.
Really?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Now, hunting
Guys
it
tracking or no?
I don't know about that.
Probably just out for a walk, it seems like.
And is there some deer camps around here? You know, is this just
It's
like
that
Most of
one that I
these
just
nice
showed you.
houses on this side. I don't think these guys are hunting. A lot of like ski houses through here. Second
Really?
homes.
There's a really nice swamp down here on the right. I went through one day, and it had some big grubs in it.
There's obviously some hippies around here too, huh?
They're not hunting them.
That's the new Vermont for you.
This is a nice road right here. That goes up and over
Yeah, I think you
that
need
little
to.
knob.
How far does that road go up?
It goes up and over.
Does it come back around by that resort?
Yes,
That's what I thought. That might be a good way to get up into there.
you can't get off the road.
Oh, it's all posted.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
I've tried. That swamp I was telling you about is right down here on the right. Down in here, there was some big rubs down in here. It's all
You're probably getting all these big bucks from both ridges
yeah,
crossing through here.
yeah.
All right.
'Cause
Well,
this
we got to
range just
start
goes
talking
miles
mountain.
out there.
We got to start talking mountain names as well. We got to start.
No,
doing here.
no.
Yeah,
Like that.
yeah, we got to end this thing. We do. We're
Oh,
over an
I
hour.
thought you were saying
No,
on
no,
the
no, no.
podcast.
Yeah, no. We got to end this thing
All
so
right.
we can actually talk about some names of some mountains here.
Okay.
You're starting to intrigue me a little bit.
A lot of country down through
Yeah,
here.
there sure is.
But
All right. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. We have got another episode that we're doing this week. Special guest.
It's a big one.
Yeah, a big one. He's killed a pile of big bucks, and you might have seen him on a video before. That's all
Leaving
we're
me
gonna.
hanging. I don't even know this guy.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. We're not
it's,
gonna tell you. We're not gonna tell you.
Secret.
it's
You'll
a
find
good
out.
it's a good one.
This guy gave me one of the tips that I use every time I kill a buck.
Well, what's that tip?
No, not going to tell you. Not going to
Next
tell you.
podcast.
Next podcast. Yeah. All right. Over and out.
All right,
I'll see
boys.
ya.
See you on the next one.